If you'd like to see this video uncensored, please check out my Patreon. All the links are in the description. Hey guys, it's your girl! Genshin Impact, am I right, everybody? Now, in one way, shape, or form, we've seen it, or at the very least, we've gotten addicted to it to a very troubling degree at some point. Be it scrolling around on your feed, or walking around at anime conventions and there's about 50 million Raiden Shoguns everywhere. And hell, even I got sponsored by him, which I'm not bragging about, but also let me brag because I've earned this. And people are even more abuzz about Genshin lately because this week, a whole new area is about to be released. Feels like it's like Christmas, because it only happens once a year. And it made me start thinking about what's important in my life, you know? It made me start wondering, am I really gonna go out of my way and go get addicted again to a video game and make all of my friends and family suffer without my wonderful presence because I'm just gonna be up here trying to look up Raiden Shogun's shirt, squirt, or whomever else's skirt, hoping that one day MiHoYo's gonna throw me a bone and show me some actual anime girl panties, because I know it's not gonna happen, but please, China, please let it happen. Yes, I am going to go back to doing that. And it also made me start remembering all of the Genshin Dojin, which is what everybody's looked at. Everybody who's played Genshin has looked at the Genshin Dojin. Let's not lie to ourselves here. I, for one, have looked at a lot. Now, you probably don't know this about me unless you follow me on Twitter. I have an issue with Genshin, as in I have an issue because every time I play it, I get sucked into the rabbit hole of it. I have 100% in Mondstadt. I have just started playing again, and Leeway's getting up there now with the new area they added there. Going on my way to Inazuma, and f me in the butt cheeks, I am not ready for Sumeru. So you can bet your sweet little tush that I have looked at quite a few titles. And it got me thinking, now that Sumeru's coming up, why don't I do a tier list of Genshin characters, and not by their abilities, not by, you know, what artifacts or what go do this and that or whatever. No, I'm going to rate them by how hot their hentai dojins are. When I say I am adding a tier list to the characters and their hentai dojinshis, I'm going by how hot they are, how many tags there are, how diverse it is. You know, we don't want a million of the same thing. And just kind of like the artwork somewhat. Because let's be honest, that's the only tier list regarding Genshin characters that we all really care about. So I looked at every single character that is available on Genshin. This took me a lot of time. Yeah. I am going to be doing this in alphabetical order because a lot of characters. Now, some characters you might notice are missing. They're mostly like minor, you know, maybe not as popular characters, and they're missing because wasn't actually any dojins on them, hentai dojins, which is sad. Also, don't want to go down the alley of doing a review on the hentai dojins of lollies or shotas, so that's gonna be cut out as well. But with that being said, let's begin. But before we begin, I would like to give thanks to today's sponsor, Space Leaper Cocoon. And I'm pretty hyped for it because goddamn, look at these girls, just look at them. Space Leaper Cocoon is a strategy-based auto-battler. It takes place in the year 3242, after a cosmic explosion has led to the collapse of society. And you are in charge of Spaceship Cocoon, that travels this universe in search of cosmic shards to weave the universe together again. Honestly, I could only hope if an apocalypse happens, it looks nearly as good as this game does. I mean, look at these visuals, come on. Now this is a pixelated Technicolor dream world. I mean, look at this. The visuals, the color palette, the characters. Now this is aesthetic. You can lose hours in the roguelike gameplay that will have you going on randomly generated adventures and discover the secrets hidden in the depths of the universe. And of course, look at these girls! You have beauties from all corners of the galaxy. Oh my god. But best of all, no matter what mobile device you have, you can continue on your adventures. The game is cross-platform on all your mobile devices, so you can pick up wherever you left off wherever you want to. And if that's not enough, Space Leaper also has its own VTuber. So what are you waiting for? All the links are in the description, so go download it now and check it out yourself. You'll love it. Thank you again to Space Leaper Cocoon, and now back to the video. First person being Albedo. Now there was quite a lot of hentai doujinshi titles on Albedo, but it was hard to find any on our Genshin Albedo because a lot of actually what came up was a guy named Albedo from Overlord. Although I will say there was a lot of Albedo hentai doujins, there wasn't many that were noteworthy. A lot of them had the same tags, a lot of the Albedo times Arthur, I don't know how the f to say his name. So it was the typical yaoi, in the butt stuff, you know. don't want to get age restricted this time, even though I'm talking about hentai. And there was like some very, very short doujins thrown in there with Sucrose as well as the female traveler. None of them were anything to write home about. If you asked me for a genuine recommendation on Albedo, I wouldn't know what to tell you, be it yaoi, be it any tag, I couldn't tell you. Very unmemorable. So I'm gonna go ahead and put an Albedo in D class. Now next is Amber, and going into Amber, I knew I'd be going through at least a couple hundred different doujin titles. Reason being, even without ever looking for Amber hentai doujin, it always seems to find its way to you. I could be going through a good Christian website, trying to learn Bible verses, and then on the side will be Amber just being f***ed by a hilichurl. And because I have come across a variety of Amber hentai doujins, I knew going into it there would be some top tier level snuff. Snuff stuff that's not, though there is that too. I don't know how top level it is. I don't, either way. And I can keep on saying stuff like that because there are the sheer amount of tags, my guy. We got the lame vanilla hand-holding type, all the way to the cheating, Yuri, group. Literally everything under the sun, even the concerning bits. There's a little bit of something for everybody. And some of the art, oh, that's so good. One of my favorite titles has to be one by Thick with a Q. And she made one with Kaya as well as Amber, of course. And the NTR angle is like, You're gonna hear her username a lot throughout this video because she makes quite a lot of Genshin hentai and everything is S tier. No matter who the character, everything is. And I'm gonna go ahead and give Amber S tier because no matter what you try to look for with Amber, you're gonna find something good, and I promise you, it's gonna be hot. You're gonna have a good hot saucy time. Which goes to say something considering how terrible her character is. Next is Arataki Ito. Now there is very few on Ito, and the only reason I'm including him in this list, even though there probably is a very small handful that I found of him, is because there were still some noteworthy things to talk about. Noteworthy things being he's F class. F class for the pure reason of, because there were so few of him, the titles were very repetitive. A lot of it was either Cujo Sarah and him, or yaoi with just whatever character. Like nothing added any element to him being there. So F class for sure. Next is Barbara, and I hate Barbara, okay? I just hate the innocent, sweet, no, I can't even think of anything bad idol type in anime and games or whatever, which I say contradictorily because I do actually play her as one of my 4 characters, but that's only because I 10 constellationed her, all right? So I went into looking at Barbara hentai doujins with some hope in my heart, and damn, I was not disappointed. There is surprisingly a lot of diversity, and not all of it, I mean actually majority of it wasn't vanilla. We got NTR. Love it. I mean, she's literally even canoodling Santa at some points. I definitely went into Barbara totally anticipating same vanilla, innocent, ooh, oh, it's my first time kind of stuff, but no! Man, she suppressed, she whipped. And for some reason, I do not know why, anytime Barbara is canoodling with any character, it's most of the time it's Venti. I do not know why. And honestly, in my heart, I want to put Barbara in S tier, but there wasn't much diversity in the titles. Like, although there was a lot of different tags, it wasn't all too different. So I'm gonna go ahead and just I'm gonna have to put her in A tier. Now there was not a lot on Beidou, and what was available was very short and very vanilla, so she's going in F tier. Get that vanilla snuff away from me. I have to stop saying snuff. I'm actually shocked Beidou doesn't have more doujins on her because she's a eye patch dami mommy. Are you kidding me? Next, I'm gonna be talking about Bennett and Chongyun. Both of them kind of give me stupid little boy vibes, so I actually think it would traumatize me if I looked at any hentai doujin of them, so I will not do that. I shan't. Next is D-Luke. Now going into D-Luke, I had the highest of anticipation of it being light vanilla with Jean or yaoi with Kaya. Disappointingly, I was correct. And it's not like there weren't quite a number of titles. Like, there were quite a number, but all of them were essentially yaoi with D-Luke and maybe one other character, and none of the yaoi was particularly special. It was the kind of put it in, put it out, done. And then with Jean, it was very like, oh, romantic, cutesy, none of it was very like saucy. And it's like, hey, a bit, I am not here to watch romance, okay? So, I want to give him F tier, but I will say for all of the doujins I've seen of him, all of the art was very pretty. So I'm gonna throw him a bone here and put him in D tier. D for D-Luke! and also his character. Next is Eula. I'm excited to talk about Eula, okay, because I love her character to baby bits. And you know what? For a character that has not shown up much in the game, she has a lot of hentai doujin. And quite a lot of them were very good, but quite a number of them were very short, POV type. And I would say majority of them were very good, especially the ones where she was a sole female and not in a group. So I'm going to have to give Eula a B tier, which pains me because I really was anticipating better. Next is Fishel. Honestly, before I started looking at Fishel doujins, I was anticipating seeing her canoodle with her bird, and Lord knows I was not looking forward to looking into Fishel. It's official, I didn't want to look into Fishel. And there was nothing like that, luckily, thank the Lord. There's still some hope in humanity. And there's quite a lot on Fishel, but I would say 95% are all the group tag, and honestly, a little lackluster. So unless you like her character design, there is nothing really noteworthy really in any of her hentai doujins. Yeah, it gives you a good like basis, a good base, but nothing like deeper than that. Honestly, I liked her character art designs, especially when they made it a bit looter, so I am going to give her a C tier. But yeah, nothing to recommend, honestly. Which is surprising because her character is so popular. Next is Ganyu. Jesus. Just thinking about the horns. Now Ganyu, man, I remember when Ganyu first came out as a character, everybody loved her. I couldn't escape this woman. And honestly, that stands even more true because there was so many doujin titles on her. Now personally, I don't like Ganyu as a character. Like I said, I don't really like the meek uwu girls. But you know, Ganyu's got some taste in terms of tags. I knew going into Ganyu's hentai, I knew it. I knew I was gonna see some freaky snuff. I have to stop. What's another word for shit and stuff? I don't wanna say it's literally my combination. Ganyu had some really great doujins, man. Some really saucy snuff. It gets its job done. I will say, however, like, none of them would be anything I'd go back to. None of them were really as memorable, nor as traumatizing as the Thick with the Q again hentai of Ganyu getting her horns ripped out by Childe. But so I'm going to give her a B tier because although it was a lot of her titles were super good, none of them are anything to write home about. Or no, some of them are write home about, but I wouldn't go out of my way to look up her character again, especially for the titles I saw. Next is Goro. Goro reminds me of a dog, so there's no way I'm looking at that. No way. Next is Hu Tao. Now, Hu Tao is another one of those characters that I think I've seen more naked than not, especially on my timelines. So I definitely anticipated at least a million different titles to go through. And I'm just gonna go right off the bat and say it, S tier. Hu Tao is 100,000,000% S tier. So many unusual tags that I had no idea I could be into. We got Ghost! We got Ghost Dick Futanari! And one of the things I was surprised about, but I am into, is Ugly Bastards in my Hu Tao doujins! The options, my guys, they were endless. Beautiful, honestly. Not one Hu Tao title disappointed me, and I love it. And I also really love, side note, that in quite a few of her doujins, she seemed really annoyed during the act, so honestly, it just made it even that much better. Next is Jean. Honestly, I don't really like Jean as a character, and so when I kind of seen her being paired with D-Luke, and it's also kind of a similar mindset I had with D-Luke, I honestly anticipated either her doujins being Jean times D-Luke, or Yuri with her and her sister. And I was right. Actually, it was mostly just her and D-Luke, and there wasn't that many titles, surprisingly, considering she's one of the first characters to be released. I'm never looking her up again, so F tier for me. Can't even get a better tier than her sister. Next is Kazuha. Now, Kazuha also did not have much, but there is a reason I am talking about him. Because what he did have, the sauce levels, my guy. The very few with Captain Beto was a rare treat, short but rare and delicious. But honestly, the ones that will stay in my heart forever are the ones with Kazuha times Raiden Shogun, because my lord, they were fantastic, honestly, every single one. And there's so many, surprisingly. I never really saw Kazuha interact with Raiden Shogun, so I don't even know where that OTP came from, but I love it. I'm here for it, and I need more of it. A tier. Next is Kaya. I think Kaya is actually the sexiest designed male in this game, which is saying something because it's either Kaya for me or Zhongli. But even though I think that, there surprisingly was not a lot to pick from in terms of Kaya hentai doujin. And what was around was mostly yaoi. Yeah, yaoi with D-Luke. A lot of the yaoi was the same, kiss, vanilla, you know, stuff like that. But one of the things I actually did quite like reading the various yaoi D-Luke times Kaya was the way that each one kind of made Kaya making his personality seem a lot more different. It made it seem a lot more, you know, easily embarrassed or, you know, delicate, which is very different to how you see him in the game. So it was quite interesting to see him differently. And I do really like the few ones with Kaya and the group and like groups with the girls. Like it just, that's really all that's available. Some of them are pretty good. So I'm gonna go ahead, you know what, honestly for those alone, A tier. Next is Kamisato Ayaka. Now there's only about 6 doujins on, I remember everybody loved her, man. But it feels like that's actually very common, you know, a new one comes out and then we just forget about the old one, like screw you, Kamisato Ayaka. And side note, it is making me wonder, what are, like, for the amount of less hentai doujin on a character, what are the pull rates on them, you know? Yeah, most of what was available with her was vanilla with Aether, I'm not gonna say it, I don't know, AE. There was some Futanari with Lumine. There was some POV, but there was really not much diversity out of that. If you just really like her character and want to see her plowed like anybody else on this list, you're gonna love it. But honestly, I just went out of my way, didn't know who she was based, you know, her character or whatever, and there's nothing special. There's nothing. But you know, at least there was something to look at, and some of the art was very pretty for some of them, so C tier. Next is Kamisato Ayato, which is Ayaka's older brother. I was not expecting much more titles than his sister, and I was right. There really wasn't many at all. In fact, there was actually none, so can't even rate him. Like, sure, there's a lot of fan art online, hentai fan art and whatever, but I'm looking for specifically hentai doujins, so you know, no. Next is Kaching, my sweet. I mained her for the longest time. I loved her. I mained her until I got Raiden Shogun, but damn, there was a lot of love I had for her there. Many fond memories, which goes along with the fact when I say I was disappointed with what I saw with Kaching is an understatement. I'd say about 50% of her titles were vanilla with Aether. That's kind of lame for me because I wanted to see, if I was gonna see vanilla of any other character, for once I would like it with her, like Kaching times Zhongli, because she yaps on about Zhongli anytime you talk to her in the game. She's the biggest fangirl of him. Like, throw the girl a goddamn bone. And there was only like one I could find of her times Zhongli, which is just, it's so sad. Poor Kaching, my guy. And there were some tags in there that, you know, were different than what I'd usually see, but doesn't mean I liked it. Like, I did not quite care for the tag emotionless intercourse, which was, it happened a few times for Kaching, and I was like, And it made me sad because I love how Kaching kind of comes off as tsundere in the game, but none of that in any of the hentai doujins came off at any point. She seemed more meek, fragile, and it just didn't really do it for me. So I'm gonna have to give her a D, and it pains me, it kills me. I do not know how I'm going to sleep at night anymore. Next is Cujo Sarah, and I 100% went into her thinking I would, just like Ito, there would not be much to look into. But actually, surprisingly, she had a lot, considering she's a character that doesn't really show up too much in the game. She had quite a mix of tags. Hello, mommy. We got some Yuri with Raiden Shogun, some POV, some her times Aether, which is, he's just essentially just every character who has a hentai doujin, he's in it, okay? It literally means nothing. We even got some mind control tag in there, which is, hello, what's this there? And honestly, I've only seen her a few times in storyline missions, but seeing her, like, definitely some of the titles, it makes me, like, you know, I'm gonna go ahead and say A tier. None of the titles actually disappointed me, but none of them, not many of them, too. Next is Lisa, the original MILF in the game. Now, when you look up Lisa doujins, you know exactly what you're gonna be going into. Look at those lips looking to suck down some quality family conversation. Now, I was expecting hundreds upon hundreds of millions of doujin titles on Lisa, but there was not a lot to pick from. Hello, what is going on, society? I only found like 3 or 4. And that's being adventurous. But honestly, they lived up to what you expected them to be. Got that confident, sensual Dami mommy taking care of her needs. You know, she knows what she's doing and she's proud of it. So for that, A tier. Next is Mona. Now, I 1000,000,000% believe that Mona is going to have the most dojins. She's probably the #1 most Genshin girl that I have seen on any platform anywhere in my life, especially at cons. Like, I swear to God, I cannot escape her wizard hat. Jeez. And with that being said, you will not be let down, okay? You're not gonna be let down if you look up Mona. But I think we all kind of knew that, though. Some of the greatest Genshin hentai dojin out there is of Mona. And she also has some of the greatest art, too. Well, looking at some of her dojins, I actually came across one artist. His name is 𝐇ᴴ𝔫𝐓ãi, and let's just say I'm a fan, all right? And I also love how the title of his dojin is called Astrologic. Very clever. And her character design never stood anything less than S tier. Next is Ningguang. Now, we love a powerful Dami mommy who knows what she's doing. And can you label Ningguang as anything other than that? And right out the gate, I'm just gonna say she's great in every dojin, just superb. Honestly, the best at her work. Yuri, perfect. Vanilla, I tolerated it. Foot licking, oddly phenomenal. Even saw some NTR thrown in there. Are you kidding me? God, thank you. The only downside is that quite a majority of her dojins don't have the best artwork, so I'm gonna go ahead and give her an A tier. Next is Raiden Shogun. Let's go, baby! I am so glad that the dojin community loves Raiden Shogun just as much as I do, and Godspeed, so much art, beautiful. Just give me a minute. Looking through all of the titles, oh my God, it was like a dream. Not one disappointed me, not one. Not even the ones with tags I don't even usually like. S tier. Next is Razor. No, I'm not doing that. Next is Rosaria. A cold, big-chested nun? Are you kidding me, internet? Are you kidding? The fishnets alone. But there actually wasn't many titles on her, and what there is of was not, it was very mid. So I'm gonna go ahead and give her D tier. Sad, damn, I love those fishnets. Next is Kokomi, aka the least wanted Genshin character in all of Genshin history so far. But that does not seem to be the case in dojins, I'll tell ya. There is quite a lot out there. We got some threesome, some vanilla, oh, can't escape it, and some hilly churls. But I'm gonna have to go ahead and give her a C because all of the dojins I've seen of her are very, very short, like 1 or 2 pages. But they were quite good. Next is Shenhua, or Shenhua, I don't know. AKA the #1 character that when she's available, I'm gonna be pulling for her because I love her design so much. I love her character so much. Her character story arc, beautiful. Though she is rather emotionless as a character, in the game it makes sense. In dojins, I really don't like emotionless, just the characters in general and like tags, especially hentai. It's like, what am I here for? I am sorry, my girl, but I'm going to have to give you D tier. Just because 1 or 2 with Aether they were pretty good. Next is Sucrose, the big wow wubsy fucking nerd. Disgusting. There's only a handful of dojins, so I can't rate her. Next is Childe. Don't remember Ganyu. Don't remember Ganyu. Most with Childe was actually yaoi, which is quite surprising. I'm noticing that a lot. Most of the men are yaoi that are in the list. I would have thought because he's a very suave and, you know, family-oriented guy that there'd be a lot more like females than not, but you know, whatever. I'm not complaining. But don't get me wrong, there are definitely some very vanilla, romance-filled, you know, Childe times female, like Lumine as well. I actually quite like the Childe times Zhongli dynamic I saw in the yaoi hentai titles. So due to the lack of tags, but opening my mind to a different ship dynamic, I'm gonna go ahead and give him a C tier. Next is Toma. I really dreaded looking up Toma hentai because in the game, especially on the date art, he's so innocent. There's no prepping my heart for this. There was not a lot on him, luckily, but what was on him was a lot of butt stuff that will forever be ingrained in my head. So that's my life now. But unfortunately, I'm going to have to give him F tier because there was not a lot of diversity. It's just kind of the same. Next is Venti. And I've seen enough of Venti so far and looking at everybody else to know he's S tier, okay? I think Venti has almost screwed every single character in Genshin so far. I do not know why so many dojin artists choose Venti to be, you know, the guy who cucks you, you know, like the guy you walk in and he's screwing your wife. I'm not gonna argue it, it's not bad. Next is Shangling. There isn't much on her, even though her character is quite OP. What is available is quite spicy. Oh yeah, Shangling don't explain. None were vanilla at all, and most of them were hidden, you know, hidden snatchy times, you know, some unique sort of stuff thrown in there. And you know, I'm quite partial to those tags in general, so I'm gonna go ahead and give her A tier, not S tier, just for the sheer fact that there wasn't much in terms of titles to pick from. Although all of them were very good, there's not a lot to get through. I also still use Shangling, so it also might be a little bit a part of my heart not to give her anything lower than A tier. Next is Xiao. All of Xiao's was yaoi, and a lot of them were like, they were not it for me. I don't know what it is with the yaoi tag and Genshin characters. None of them have that good little oomph, you know? And all of his yaoi titles were either with Zhongli or Aether, so I didn't see anything too amazing. D tier. Next is Yae Miko, which is literally, she's mostly just the vanilla tag with Aether, which I think you'd automatically be thinking like, vanilla, she's gonna make her like a lower thing again, and you usually be right. But the Yuri tags with Yae Miko, my god. Out of every girl on this list with a Yuri tag, Yae Miko for me has been the best. Her Yuri tag, that's where you find the golden ticket, my child. Now the Yuri tag is mostly just her and Raiden, which is, you know, lacks that, you know, but damn, do they add some oomph and spice into every single one. Let's go! They got some threesomes in there. They got some yum yums. Now the pair actually surprised me. Like, it was actually, no, most delicioso. B tier, because there wasn't really much. Next is Yanfei, and I'm just gonna say F tier. All of her titles were just her times Aether, and it just, none of them, it's just, you know, what am I reading, shoujo manga? Next is Yoymia. I'm gonna start off by saying her first hentai doujin I've ever seen of her was a girl one. I did not know when I was reading it was Goro. So there was some trauma there. Actually, until this video, I avoided looking at Yoymia doujins like the plague. Her POV tags were quite good, but honestly, and this is me, I'm 100% gonna say it's me. The trauma of seeing her head get cut off and placed on a plate traumatized me to a point that I can't, hentai doujins, I can't. Yoymia, I'm so sorry. It's gonna be F tier, because just for my own mental well-being. And the final one is Zhongli, the daddy himself. Being one of, if not the most popular male character in the game. Okay, no, he is in a lot of doujins, my word. And a lot of them were actually yaoi focused. You know, it wasn't really, you know, one of the things I love personally about Zhongli is he's very sensual, he's very but in every single doujin I saw of him, he was really emotionless, didn't really care. Like, during the act, his face was like,
been here a couple thousand years, this means nothing.
Daddy, come on, please, I'm here for it. Why aren't you showing me? Honestly, really disappointing in every aspect. Even like the romance ones were like, kind of like, I'm not, you know, I'm not, what am I on Wattpad here? Honestly, nothing was amazing. Although 5-star in my heart, not on my chart. D tier. And that's it, everybody. That is every Genshin character that has hentai doujins available out them and their rating. When I went into looking into the characters, I already kind of assumed what I would be looking into, but a lot of them surprised me. I mean, it just goes to show you can't judge a character by a game. Honestly, probably by the time this video comes out, Sumeru will already be released. We'll already be in the neck of it. Honestly, I pray for us all in terms of productivity. Put the sun in the background, I'm begging yous. Either way, thank you guys for watching this video. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. If you were thinking about supporting this video or would like to see this video uncensored, then please check out this link here, or honestly, just check out my description, it's right there. Thank you guys again, and I will see you in the next one. Ta-da!